there's a greater applause.
Hi, and welcome to As It Is Written. My name is Yaakov Ben Israel, and I'm the elder priest of the Culture Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel. We're located at 3901A Covington Highway in Decatur, Georgia. And this program is designed to give you insight into the past, present, and future of what's happening with not only with this so-called renamed Negro, African American, or whatever you want to call us, but our program is designed to give you insight as to the things that is happening to our people and why these things are occurring. You know, Yahweh don't just put a whole nation of people in slavery simply just to have something to do, you know, just because the nations want to do it. It all has its design, and it was just like it was before Yahweh brought us out of Egypt under the hand of Moses. Things got worse and worse and worse and worse simply because Yahweh has to get our attention sooner or later. You know, you can lose a family member or something, you know, pretty soon you'll kind of get over it. But when Yahweh hits you in your pocketbook, then that's something you don't get over too soon. And this is what's taking place because this is the way that Yahweh is getting our attention, because many things is happening in the earth today. And all of these things that are taking place is leading up to our deliverance. But there's a lot of things that we don't understand because, like the scripture said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And the things that we receive bits and pieces of what's written in the Bible, which is a history book. And man has taught us to use these things to practice religion with. And the Bible does not teach religion. The Bible is the history of the world. It begins with, in the beginning, Yahweh Elohim created, and it ends up, and they live happy forever and ever and ever, and so forth and so on. So we can very well see that the Bible is one complete story that was written from Genesis to Revelation. Of course, we know that in the 300s AD, once the Europeans began to try to piece this thing together after they had killed off the apostles, we know that they came up with something they called the New Testament. It's no such thing as the New Testament. It's called the New Covenant. And the New Covenant was prophesied in the 31st chapter of Jeremiah, and the New Covenant is written throughout the prophets in the Old Testament. But it's a lot of times we don't read these things, and we get off into a lot of things that's not really true, but because they're of tradition, then we have a tendency to deal with these things because these things that was passed down from generation to generation, but it's not necessarily true just because people say it. It's like this heaven thing. Everybody dies, goes to heaven. It's not written any place in the scripture where man is going to heaven. But like I was saying, when you look around in our neighborhoods and look upon the things that's happening up on the earth, you can very well see what portion of the Bible we're in right now. We're in the book of Revelations, Revelations 13 and Revelation 17. And Revelations only have 22 chapters. So you can very well see with all of the major disasters that's happening up on the earth, and with all the disasters that that your scientists are talking about that's going to happen because of global warming, et cetera, well, they can put it on what they want to put it on, but it really has to do with sin. Even the crime that's running rampant in the streets. You can call it what you want to. You call it any kind of nice name you want to. But it has to do basically with sin. And we know that Yahweh destroyed all of mankind except 8 souls at one time because of man's sin. And it's in the process of coming back around again because it's time for our deliverance. And Yahweh has to get our attention. And the best way for him to get our attention right now is through economics, because that's what we understand. We understand when we haven't gotten the money. But a lot of other things we don't understand. And when we go to the churches, people don't give you the things that you need. This is a live program, and if you wish to, You can call in. I think they're going to put the number up. You can call in at any time you want to. Incidentally, this is our last live show for the next 4 weeks. We are going on a hiatus, and then after we come off that, we'll come back with a live show. So about the next 4 shows is going to be tapes. Are going to be reruns, but just stick with us. And what I'd like for you to do is, if you get a chance to, write down our address and the things that's on your mind. Why don't you send us the subjects that you'd like to have discussed? Why don't you send us a postcard at the Culture Center? And what we'll do is we'll give this information to our media department, and then what we can do is come on and discuss things that our audience has called in that's on their mind. Because when I come on talking about what's on my mind, and when the panel come on, they talk about things that we put together that should be said, but then it may not be what you're interested in, and the only way that we're going to deal with what you're interested in is that you let us know the subjects that you are interested in, and what we'll do is we'll put together programs that that would be interesting to you, so you can get some answers. But let me read some things that took place that were said in the book of Luke. This is also written in the book of Matthew. Each one of the Gospels, you know how it is when you hear someone say something. You will get some things out of it, and then some other people hear other things, what they're interested in out of it. And then when these things are put on, we get a complete story of everything that was said instead of just bits and pieces of it. All the Gospels seem the same, but they're not. They are different. But let me read something to you that a conversation that took place with the Messiah, excuse me, and his apostles. This is in St. Luke chapter 21, and it says, as some spake of the temple, how it was adorned with goodly stones and gifts, he said, as for these things which you behold, the days will come, in the which there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Now, he's talking about the siege of Jerusalem in 70 A.D. by General Titus, when our city was destroyed, and we were sold. The remainder of our people that the white folks didn't kill off, then they sold to the Ethiopians, and that's how our people got down into Africa. But let me finish this up here. It says, and they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be, and what will be the sign of these things shall come to pass? Now, remember, the Messiah said there wasn't going to be one stone left upon another that wasn't going to be thrown down. Well, what's that wailing wall they got over there that they call parts of the temple? If you do some research on it, you'll find out that General Titus tore the temple down brick by brick, and they took the stones from the temple and built Fort Antonio, because the Ninth Legion was in the city at that time, and this is where the soldiers stayed at while they were in Jerusalem. This is Luke 21 and verse 8. And he said, take heed that you be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying that I am the Messiah, and the time draweth near. Go you not therefore after them. But when you shall hear wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then he said unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in different places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from the heavens. And when you look upon the things that's happening today and really listen to, especially when you watch the History Channel and Discovery Channel and channels that are telling you about the events that's happening on the earth, we need to take note of these things, because many of these things were prophesied by the prophets of the Old Testament that they would come to pass, but we don't get these things because people don't read what the prophets have to say. But the people in the New Testament told you to search the scriptures. But the New Testament is not scripture. A lot of scripture was quoted in the New Testament, but all of the scripture stops at the book of Malachi, And from Genesis to Malachi, that's something we have a tendency to leave alone and don't read the prophets. Well, that means that you're only getting parts of the story, and if you're only getting parts of the story, you're getting a lie. This is why they got so many different denominations and different religions upon the earth, simply because they never could quite get that lie straight. Luke 21 and verse 12. But before these, they shall lay hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the churches and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And they shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what you shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And you shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinfolks and friends, and some of you they shall cause to be put to death. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. Well, this is coming to pass now, where we as a people are being hated of all nations. The Hispanics don't want to deal with us. The Asians don't want to deal with us. None of the other nations want to deal with us, because we have the type of people that we have become in these latter days. I think we got a call on the line. Go ahead, caller. You on the air?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I was watching your show, and what you were saying about us being taken into different countries, according to what Luke was saying in chapter 21.
Mm-hmm.
It's evident that has come to pass with our situation here in America.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't mean to change the subject a little bit, but there are a lot of people, especially our people, that have put their future hopes in America. They don't think America will ever go anywhere, and they will never be destroyed. But there has never been an empire on this earth, or a superpower on this earth, that has lasted forever.
Correct.
So people have to understand that, according to the prophets that you do read about, that America's time as a superpower, even as a nation, is about to come to an end. If you don't mind, Elder, would you mind speaking on that a little bit, and I'll hang up and listen.
Okay, my brother. Let me read something to you. See, the major things that's going to happen upon this earth has already been prophesied, but the thing of it is that our people don't know that these things have been prophesied. It's going to take place, and by them not doing the research to find out what the nations changed their name from the old days up until now, then we don't get any understanding out of this, because we don't know who's talking to who to about what. But let me read something to you out of the prophet Isaiah chapter 47. Now, Isaiah 13, Isaiah 47, Jeremiah chapter 50, and Jeremiah chapter 51 is the destruction of America by Russia. But let me read something to you that the prophet Isaiah had to say during his prophecy. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." Now, let's understand what he's talking about. When the Arabs came into our city in 606 BC, they called it the Babylonian Empire. When the Greeks took over, when the Medes and the Persians came in during the Medo-Persian Empire, they still called it the Babylonian Empire. When Alexander the Great came in with the Greeks, they called it the Babylonian Empire. When the Romans came in, they called it the Babylonian Empire. And we have to understand that these European Christians, they migrated after fighting all of the crusades that they fought all over Europe and Asia and Africa, taking other people's lands for gain. What they did was they migrated over here to America, murdered off the Indians, and took their country and set up a governmental system through the Spirit of 76. And what they did was then these good Christian folks went and got them some slaves and recorded the worst slavery in the history of the world. And right now, they're still holding Yahweh's people captive. So Europe, we know that they're setting up what they call the EU over there now, which is the revived Holy Roman Empire of Revelation 13 chapter. And Daniel chapter 7 through 12 told you that they were going to set this empire up again. And once it gets, but the problem is, Although they already got the euro dollar on the market, and all these countries are joining back to the Holy Roman Empire, they begin to put this beast back together again. Let us understand that America is not going to give up her power to anybody. Miss America's pie is going to have to be destroyed. That's the reason why she's going to be destroyed. And according to the prophets, Russia is going to destroy America in 1 hour and 1 day. But let me go ahead and finish this up. It says, this is Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Europe. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Aryans. For you shall no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind meal, uncover your locks, make bare your legs, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Your nakedness shall be uncovered. Yes, your shame shall be seen. Now, what is her nakedness? What is her shame? Her shame is that she has God's chosen people over here as servants, and the way that they have treated us for almost the last 400 years. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet you as a man. As for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit you silent, and get you into darkness, O daughter of the Aryans, for you shall no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. Miss America's pie. My country, tears of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Liberty is a goddess. And they got her in Liberty Pool, a big statue in Liberty Pool in the harbor in New York to greet everybody that come into America. As a matter of fact, they got a song, My Country, Tears of Thee, Sweet Land of Liberty, of Thee I Sing. Liberty is a goddess, and everybody that received liberty, everybody has received liberty, but this so-called renamed Negro over here in America, who is the Hebrew Israelites or the original Jews. Verse 6, I was angry with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into your hand. You did show them no mercy. Upon the ancient have you very heavily laid your yoke. And you said, I shall be a lady forever, so that you did not lay these things to your heart, neither did remember the latter end of it. Therefore, hear now this, you that are given to pleasures, that dwell carelessly, that say in your heart, I am, and none else besides me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come upon you in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon you in their perfection, for the multitude of your sorceries and the great abundance of your enchantments. For you have trusted in your wickedness. You have said, don't nobody see me. Your wisdom and your knowledge, it has perverted you. And you have said in your heart, I am, and none else besides me. Therefore shall evil come upon you. You shall not know from where it rises, and mischief shall fall upon you. You shall not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon you suddenly, which you shall not know. Stand now with your enchantments and with the multitude of your sorceries wherein you have labored from your youth. If so be, you shall be able to profit. If so be, you may prevail. You are wearied in the multitude of your counsels. Let now your astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save you from these things that shall come upon you. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to set before it. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom you have labored, even your merchants from your youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, and none shall save you. So the prophets tell us that America is going to be destroyed. America has to be destroyed before Europe can put in this new world order, because like I said before, we know that America is not going to acquiesce her power to nobody. Like she said, I said a queen. See, I'm a big bad queen out here in this water, and if you mess with me, I will do something to you. Why do you think they call America global cop? All the nations on the earth, she's had her hands, and everybody's these Protestants over here, these protesters, they've had their hands in everything that's going on over in people's country. They're going, people say, well, you know, you're not doing things humanely among the human beings. Well, look how they did us, and look how they're still doing us. But don't nobody say nothing because she carry a big stick. But what you do, you get back into the prophets and read the prophets, and you'll see every major empire that has been set upon this earth fell. And America has to fall before we can get this new world order in place. And then that's what's going to bring about the return of the Messiah, is the new world order, because they're gathering together to fight the Mashiach when he returned, according to the prophets. I think we got another call on the line. Caller, go ahead, caller. You on the air.
Yes, that was a very powerful verse that you just read there, brother. Also, before the caller called in, the Spanish speaking
hold up for a minute, brother. Turn that brother up a little bit. I can't hear him. I want you to be heard, brother. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to make sure you heard.
I was saying that was a very powerful verse that you read, and because I read it all the time. Also, before the caller called last time, you were speaking how the Asians and the Spanish-speaking people reject our people here. Mm-hmm. And like in where Lazarus was dead and he was in the tomb, and when Jesus came, his sister said, but Messiah, he's been dead 4 days. It's like saying we have been dead 400 years over here, and in the nose of the civilized people of the world, or who they think they're civilized, that we stink to them, and that they look upon us as if we are dead people that have begun to rot. Thank you, sir. But that was a beautiful verse you read, and I hope that people really listen to what you just said. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, brother. What I try to do is I try to give people information that they can go do research on their own, because it's all here. Everything that was going to take place among all the nations upon the earth is right in the book. Yahweh did not leave anything for you to have to try to decipher yourself. What he did was, he said, search the prophets. Search the prophets. And let me read something else. See, the thing of it is our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Most people know that what they call Saturday. Now understand now in the Bible it was the seventh day, you see. But these Gentiles changed all the numbers to names of their pagan gods, and they got them right here with us today. All of them. All of their holy days that they got set up, holidays as they call them, all of them are set up to honor pagan deities. Valentine's Day, here come this little baby, this little fat baby with wings on the shoulders, you know, shooting a bow and arrow and all that other junk, you know. And then here come December 25th, which is the day of the winter solstice, and people talking about, well, this is Christ's birthday. Well, according to the Bible, Christ was born in the summer. So how did it get to be December 25th? You might want to do some research on that. And then Easter has to do with Astaroth. They got that from the Africans long before what they call the New Testament was written. The only thing they did when these Christians conquered other people's land was took their gods and added them to their myriad of gods. That's why all of the planets are named after Teutonic gods. All of the days of the week they've named after their god. And most of the months they've named after their gods. But see, we don't understand these things simply because when we go to church, we go to listen to somebody that was taught by our enemies to fleece us. And that's basically what it's all about. Now, right now today, the church is the #1 banker. Every Monday morning, the church is the #1 banker, and these whorehouses is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and ain't nobody receiving nothing. Christ said, watch. And nobody is even watching. Let me read something to you here that Christ had to say in St. Luke, where I was before. It says, verse 22, for these be the day of vengeance, that all things that are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distresses in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives unto all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Euro-Gentiles, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And the Gentiles had 2,520 years to rule, and we had 400 years of captivity under them, and that 2,520 years and the 400-year captivity is coming swiftly at a close. The first, all you got to do is go back and check out when the first slaves, I'm not talking about indentured servants, check out when the first slaves came over here, and you'll find out that we're right at the doors of our deliverance, and all of the prophets verify the things that was going to be taking place upon the earth, and we can see that Yahweh is putting things in a position to where the trumpets of revelations and the vials of revelation of his wrath can be poured upon mankind before our deliverance. He's going to get our attention one way or another. I think we got another call on the line. Go ahead, caller, you on the air?
Yes, I was calling to ask, in Job, do you recall when God was having the assembly and Satan came, and Satan was saying that he was going to and from on the earth looking for someone to devour? Does that explain that in order for Satan to do something to you, he has to get permission from God?
Let's understand this, sweetheart. Satan works for God too. Okay? Lucifer was given 6,000 years to rule this earth. Lucifer is the prince of this earth. Lucifer was in the garden when man was created, and the Messiah even said himself, the prince of this world comes, and he have no power in me. Well, see, Lucifer works for the adversary, for God himself. But what he can't do no more than Yahweh allow him to do. When you see things, dire things happening to people, it's because Yahweh has allowed that to happen, because he told you that he keep his hand upon his saints, and even some of his saints has to be martyred. We can get back into the New Testament and go through the whole Bible and see that his saints has been martyred from the dawn of time, you know. But all of this is done by Lucifer and his death angels, but they work for Yahweh. I tell you what you do. Read the book of Job. Read the first few chapters of Job, and you'll find out that Satan went to Yahweh and asked him, Yahweh asked Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there's none in the earth as righteous as he is, a just man? And Satan told Yahweh, Job don't fear you for nothing, so you done made him rich and gave him everything you want, and you got your hedge around it. Move your hedge, and I'll make him curse you to your face. And Yahweh told him, okay, he's in your hands, just don't kill him.
So it is true that everything that happens to us is because God allows it.
Yes, ma'am.
Because God allows it to happen.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, if that's the situation, then why do people, when they go to church, when things happen, they don't like to acknowledge the fact that God allowed Satan to do it? They'll just say, well, Satan is just doing this and Satan is doing that.
Well, I'll tell you why that is, my sister. You got to understand what they're practicing. They're practicing paganism. Now, we know that Saturday is the Sabbath day, but then white folks changed it to Sunday in 312 AD, and a European emperor had to make Christianity the legal religion of the Holy Roman Empire. But let me read something to you, and maybe this will give you a little bit more insight on that, my sister. What I'm referring to. This is I'm going to read something here out of the book of Matthew. When the Messiah was born, we have to understand what took place at the birth of the Messiah. See, there were some things that were said that people don't pay no attention to. Now, first of all, I'm going to read something to you out of St. John, the 4th chapter, that Christ said himself. But see, I guess people are going to say Christ was a lie. This is in St. John 4 and verse 22. Now, The Messiah had met this woman at the well, and the apostles had gone into town to buy some food, and he was thirsty. So the woman came to the well, and he told her, say, hey, give me the drink. He said, man, I ain't got nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. And he talked to her for a while, but let me read something to you of what she said to him in the conversation that pursued. In verse 19, this is St. John chapter 4 and verse 19. It said, the woman said unto him, Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worship in this mountain, and yet you say that in Jerusalem is the place where men should worship. Yeshua said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour comes when you shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. You don't know what you worship. We know what we worship, because salvation is of the Jews. Okay? Now this is what Christ himself said. Salvation is of the Jews. Now, let me go and let me read something else to you that was said. These are things that they don't read in church, because what it does, it busts up that doggone lie they be talking about in church. But let me read something to you that took place when the Messiah was born. I think I want to go in the first chapter of Luke here. Let me read something to you that took place. See, our problem is we don't read. We don't read. Because if we read, we'd find out that it was some things that were said that's not being told us in the church. And you have to ask yourself, well, why aren't these things here read in the church? Because they're pertinent to the doctrine. Well, they're not read in the church, my sister, my people, simply because of the fact that folks don't read this Bible. Let me read something to you here that this is St. Matthew. St. Matthew, it has to do with the virgin birth. Now, this is in the second chapter of St. Matthew. It says, now the birth of now when Yeshua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? See? And when you read the Old Testament, the original Jews was black. The Jews did not turn white to 1948, and they was put in there by the United States and Great Britain. Now these wise men came. They was looking for him that was born King of the Jews, right? Okay. Now let me find another piece of scripture here pertaining to that same thing that took place. We see what we can get out of this. All you have to do is have somebody to show you, to sit down with you and read this book, instead of talking about it and selling what you think and what you feel and so forth and so on, because everything was written down, and all we have to do is read what was written down. I think what I want to read is in St. Luke. I think that's where it is. It was in St. Luke. Okay. Let me see. I think we got another call on the line also. So why don't you go ahead, caller, while I'm looking for this piece of scripture here. Why don't you go ahead and we got another here it is. It's in St. Luke chapter 1, and I'm going to pick this up at verse 26. Now remember, we just read that the wise men came and said, where is he that is born King of the Jews? Christ said salvation is of the Jews. Now people try to tell me up there it's of the Christians. Now I'm going to go into Luke, and I'm going to read the first chapter of Luke, and I'm going to start this at verse 26. It says, and in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God into a city of Galilee named Nazareth. Now it's the 6th month. It's talking about the 6th month of the Hebrew calendar, which is September. Okay, it says, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Miriam. And the angel came into her and said, hail, you that are highly favored, Yahweh is with you. Blessed are you among women. And when she saw him, She was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Miriam, for you have found favor with Elohim. And behold, you shall conceive in your womb, and shall bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yeshua. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Adonai Elohim shall give unto him the throne of his father David, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Now, you don't get that in church. And why you don't get that in church is because the adversary, the devil, is behind the pulpit, and we know it. I think we got another call on the line. Go ahead, caller, you on there. Go ahead, caller. We lost that caller? Well, anyways, all you have to do is read the book and see what was actually said. But see, we get destroyed for lack of knowledge because we like to go around them big, nice edifices. Everybody all cleaned up in new cars. Everybody want to show how prosperous they are and so forth. And then we go in there trying to buy our way into the kingdom with paying tithes and so forth and so on. Now, what y'all need to do, you might want to ask some of these older people around here, and they will tell you they remember when the church didn't even tithe. The preacher had a job. They built a church. They used to build a rectory right beside the church so everybody would know where to preach at when they needed help, a prayer, something, they could go there. Now they're buying a mansions all out in the big subdivision, gated areas and so forth and so on, and you don't even know the preacher. The only thing you know is who his name is, you see. And look how richly they are living off a lot of poor people that's going to church. And in some of these churches, if your car is beyond a certain year, you can't park in this parking lot. You got to park in the parking lot way back in the back. What kind of mess is that? It's getting to the place to where the poor people can't come to church, where they don't want the poor people to come to church because the poor people ain't got that money. See, they want that 10% in these churches and so forth and so on, because that's where they're going to get the money. The preachers can ride around in these $500,000 cars, live in $500,000, $2-3 million homes and so forth. So that's what it's all about. The church today is about money. You see, this is why our people don't know who they are. Now, when I was a kid, the preachers preached about all of the stories and everything that was written in the Bible, like in the Old and the New Testament. But then they got these new pulpit pimps that came up during that civil rights movement. See, they got them behind the altar now, and the only thing they're talking about is prosperity, how God wants you to prosper. What Yahweh wants is a contrite and humble spirit. Because it's only a contrite and humble spirit that will walk in the way that he said. Now, and to show you, do you know that Sunday morning is the most segregated time in America? Huh? We Christians, though. But it's some of these older people around here can let you know that there was a time when we didn't have no churches to go to, man. They considered us 3/5 of a human being. Now, all of a sudden, they start sending them little jackleg preachers out to teach our ministers this garbage that they got today, and which is still evolving into bigger lies and bigger lies and bigger lies. But they can't prove these things in the Bible. It's just like this thing about heaven. It ain't written no place in the Bible that you're going to heaven. It's nothing said from Genesis to Revelation about what you're going to do in heaven. But all of the prophets contain things that's going to take place once the Messiah kill off all these wicked people on the earth and set up a governmental system here on the earth that's going to last for 1,000 years. I think we got another call on the line. Go ahead, caller, you in there.
Peace unto thee.
Hey, peace, my brother.
I got a quick question. I just want to know, why do a lot of Christians think that Jesus is God?
Pardon me?
I just want to know, why do a lot of people think that Jesus is God?
He is. Man, it's written in your law that you are God's. It's written in the law book that you are God. Even Christ said that himself. See, you have to, a lot of people just don't understand what really took place with the Messiah because they don't understand the covenant that Yahweh made with David in 2 Samuel 7. See, Yahweh promised David, he told him, say, of the fruit of your loins will I sit upon your throne. Now, when the Mashiach, Yeshua, was born, the people was waiting for the Messiah because they had went in the book of Daniel and figured out exactly when the Messiah was going to show up on the scene. And in the year 26, the Messiah showed up for baptism according to what the prophets had to say. So what he came for was for one purpose, to, let me read it to you. It's in the book of Romans here. It's in the 15th chapter of Romans. Let me read it to you, and then maybe we can get some understanding about that. This is Romans chapter 15, and I'm going to pick this up at verse 8. It says, now I say that Yeshua HaMashiach was a minister of the Jews for the truth of God to confirm the promises made to our fathers. See, this is why the Messiah said in St. Matthew 15 chapter, I'm not sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Understand one thing, God is a covenant God. And he had made covenants with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and our fathers, the 12 tribes of Israel. And the new covenant, Christ came and sealed that new covenant in his blood with the 12 tribes of Israel. So when the brother died, he was the sacrificial lamb. But because he walked perfect in the law and because he did what he was supposed to do, Yahweh raised him up as a brand new creature, and he is the one that's going to rule from Jerusalem, Israel. The brother died, he was resurrected, and he lives forever. If you live forever, you are a God. Ain't no doubt about it. All the angels, they are gods. Whether they're evil angels or good angels, they are gods. And to show you that, we have a whole new world out here that people don't see. Because like the psalmist said, he has given his angels charge over you to keep you in the way, and you shall not be moved unless you dash your foot against a stone. So the Mashiach was raised up to sit on the throne of David. See, this is why he didn't say, I sit on my Father's throne. He said, I'm going to give you to sit down with me in my throne as I am sat down with my Father in his throne. So once the kingdom is set up on the earth in Jerusalem, Israel, the Mashiach will be the one that's going to reign over the house of Jacob forever, even forever and ever. And to back that up, what you do is this. Read Isaiah 14, Micah chapter 4, and read the last two chapters of the prophet Isaiah, and they will confirm all of that. You see, once the man was resurrected from the dead and given that new body, go into Ezekiel 39th chapter, dry bones of the valley, and you'll find out that once those new bodies are put together, they had everything in them but blood. And Yahweh said, I'm going to put my spirit in you, bring you up out of your graves, and put my spirit in you, and bring you back to the land of Israel. But see, we don't understand these things because we don't know how God work things. And to show you that, I'm going to read something to you out of the Psalms that was said out of the Psalms when it was talking about the king. I think I want to go through Psalms chapter 48. It says, let me get it right here. I get it. This is in Psalms. It's in Psalms 45. It says, my heart is inditing a good matter. I speak of the thing which I have made touching the king. My tongue is the pen of a ready writer. You are fairer than the children of men. Grace is poured into your lips. Therefore God has blessed you forever. Gird your sword upon your thigh, O most mighty, and with your glory and your majesty. And in your majesty ride prosperously because of truth and meekness and righteousness, and your right hand shall teach you terrible things. Your arrows are sharp in the heart of the king's enemy, whereby the people fall under you. Your throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of your kingdom is a right scepter. You love righteousness and hated wickedness. Therefore, God, your God, have anointed you with oil of gladness above your fellows. And now, who did God anoint a God? The only place I read about that is Joshua. And I have to believe in what I read. I think we got another call on the line. Go ahead, call. Okay. When you look at the angels, all of the angels are gods. I mean, they can appear, they disappear, they control everything on the earth, and you never see neither one of them. But yet and still, they're here. They're gods. And Psalms back that up. He said he has given his angels charge over you to keep you in the way. You shall not be moved unless you dash your foot against a stone. But see, what we've been shown is junk that them white folks have been giving us. Men walking around with wings on their back and all that stuff. You know, women angels. Ain't no women angels. Ain't no female angels. Ain't no baby angels. The angels are men of power that runs this earth for God to make sure that his word is carried out upon this earth. But see, that's not what we get when we go to church. We get these folks flying. And Paul told you, say, be careful to entertain strangers, because some have entertained angels and didn't know it. And well, if you're sitting up across the table from you with wings on your back, wouldn't you know it? I think we got another call on the line. Go ahead, caller, you on the air.
Just looking for a prayer. As you bless the soul with a prayer.
Pardon me?
I said, could you bless the soul with a prayer?
I didn't understand what he said.
All I'm looking for is a prayer.
A prayer?
Yes, sir.
You looking for a prayer?
Yes, sir.
Well, pray.
Okay, but I'm looking for it. Okay.
And that's all you got to do, brother. All you got to do is pray and ask it in the name of Yahshua, and then see what come about of it. But understand who you praying to. See, a lot of people turn around and pray, and you know, people said, well, God is this, God is that, God is this. I say, I love God, he's in me, I sleep with him, he do this and he do that. And I asked him, I said, well, what's his name? And nobody knows.
I know. I mean, I listen to you a lot, you know.
See, nobody knows. And his name is written in Psalm 68. He say, extol him by his name, Yah. And everything they've been digging up out of the earth, it comes up with those four consonants, YHWH, which is pronounced Yahweh. But see, we don't get this in church. What we get is God and Lord. Those are titles.
Yes, I understand.
Those are titles. But people are going to tell me how much of the spirit they got in them, and they don't know whose spirit it is they got in them. Well, I will say this. If you don't know whose spirit you got, it's the spirit of the adversary, the devil. Ain't no doubt about it. Zip lock. See,
correct.
Yeah. So brother, pray always. This is what we were told to do. Pray always, but know who you're praying to. I mean, when I pray, I have conversation with my God. I sit down and I tell him what's on my mind and ask him to give me instructions and so forth. Forgive me for my atrocities against him, because all of us sin and come short of his glory. But I try to walk as upright as I can according to what's written down, not according to what man has to say.
You know, and I go back and I quote some of the things you say, and the people I talk to, they call me a devil. You know, and I mean, this is insulting, because I know you speak the word.
Well, brother,
I was asking for a prayer, you know, for the listeners out there.
Didn't they say Christ had a devil in him?
Sir?
Didn't they tell Christ that he had a devil in him?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, I know, brother. Yeah, I know all about it, brother. The devil's folks are always quick to say, well, you got a devil in them, but check this out. They keep Christmas, they keep Easter, they keep Thanksgiving, they keep all of them pagan holidays that Satan got set up, and then they're going to tell you, because you don't do it, you got a devil in you.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they can be stingy with that money. I've been trying to get that.
Yeah, brother.
Man, you know, I mean, we've been fighting with the religion thing. I mean, like you were saying, people in church, they say one thing, you know, and I don't believe that, you know. I want to come somewhere and bring my family where.
It ain't nothing in the church, brother, but a bunch of junk.
I understand.
And let me tell you something. The Bible, Revelations 17th chapter, called the Christian church a whorehouse. Mm-hmm. Okay? Well, if you go in the whorehouse, brother, When you lay down, you're subject to come out with AIDS. And that's what they get in the church, brother, a disease that's incurable. We have classes at the Culture Center at 3901A Covington Highway. We have a regular Sabbath class on Saturday at 1 p.m., have a prophecy and world events classes on Sunday at 10:30 a.m., and we have biblical and secular history on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m., and we have a women's Bible class in world history on Thursday at 8 p.m. And where I go to church at, if you got a question, all you got to do is ask it. All you got to do is raise your hand and ask it, and ain't nobody going to tell you what that means this or that means that. What we're going to do is take you in the book and let you read it for yourself. That way you can't say, well, that brother said. No, don't you put that on me. See, don't you put that on me. The only thing I do, brother, is show people the keys to reading this book, and then that's when the Spirit takes over, and the Spirit guides you through the intricacies of the things that's written in the covenants and how we got to walk before our God, because we don't know. We don't know, see. Yahweh gave us laws, statutes, and judgment. But because Paul said in the New Testament, you're not under the law, you're under grace, people read that little one verse, but they don't go back to the beginning of the chapter and see what the whole letter was about that Paul was writing to the church, you see. And Paul was telling them that we were not under the sacrificial laws anymore. And he explained that quite thoroughly, you see. But that Yahweh has to have rules and regulations to govern everybody, to judge everybody on the earth by. And they're written down. But people don't get these things simply because Lucifer runs the church. So what is he going to tell you? I mean, everybody know, help your neighbor, feed the poor, and all that other stuff. Poor folks go to church today and go up there talking about, especially on Sunday when everybody up there with all they finery and everything. Poor person, homeless person go to church today to try to, on their holy day, that he's subject to get put in jail. Simply because the poor, no one wants the poor around them, brother. Nobody wants the poor. But Christ said the poor that you would always have with you. And people say, well, Christ was rich. He was a carpenter. I heard Creflo say this. Christ was rich. He was a carpenter. He built subdivision. Christ said, the birds have nests, the foxes have holes. He said, I ain't even got a place to lay my head. And he subsisted off the things that the women and the people that followed him around, the donations that they gave him, brother. That's why how the brother had one garment he wore. The whole time he preached, he had one garment he wore to show you how things were. I think we got another call on there. Go ahead, caller, you on the line. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, my name is Felicia.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Hello. Hello.
And I was listening to what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying that Lucifer was running the church.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
The church.
Yes, ma'am.
How can you say that?
Okay.
When I'm a Baptist myself.
Okay, let me show you something. In the 10 Commandments, what did God say? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, right? Right? Am I right, sister?
Yes.
Okay. Well, why did they change it from Saturday to Sunday? Huh? Why did they tell me Christ was born December 25th? And the church tell this lie now. Christ was born December 25th. And the church also told that lie of this little fat white boy that fly down from the North Pole with these flying reindeer. You better not cry. Santa Claus coming to town. He got reindeer to fly. The church, sister, the church tell that lie. And then you come to Easter.
I'm sorry, sir. But the church did not make up that lie, sir.
Yes, it did. It came out the Roman Catholic Church. Read your history. See? That's why I tell y'all, don't call in here if you haven't done any research, because you ain't doing.
I did do research.
Okay.
I did do research about Christmas.
Okay. At the Edict of Milan, didn't the Roman Catholic Church institute Christian the day of the winter solstice?
It's commercial, so how long?
Sweetheart, you talking a whole lot of extra stuff. Listen to the question. At the Edict of Milan, Didn't the Roman Catholic Church institute December 25th, it's Christ's birthday? Didn't they say this is the day that we're going to set aside the day of the winter solstice as Christ's birthday, knowing all the time that the Bible say, according to the Bible, he was born in the summer? All you got to do is get on the internet and look up Christmas, and it'll tell you that. Look it up in the encyclopedia. It'll tell you this is the day that was set aside by the Christian to celebrate his birthday. But if you keep on reading, it'll tell you it was the day of the winter solstice. They had already been celebrating that day because December 25th is the day that the sun is furthest away from the earth, and that's when they had that ritual. And in Easter, when the sun, in April, when the sun crosses the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn and head north along the equator, they say he is risen. That's when Easter comes. It's sun worship. Christianity is sun worship. That's why Lucifer is the angel of the sun. That's why they changed to Sunday. That's why all of their holy day is geared around things of the sun. Now, you need to do some research on that, my